Oh, the camera's close today, kids. Hey everybody, it's Ava. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. If you're new, my name is Ava. I like making videos about books. I almost said books about videos, but that is not something I make. Just to let you know. Today I will be doing a book talk for, that was a really cool catch, I don't know if you can see that, A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas. And I finished this book a little while ago and I filmed this book talk and I actually wasn't very proud of it, fun fact. So I was like, you know what, I worked hard on like the actual content of the books, or book talk, not the book, I didn't write this. I'll post it, and then I go on my camera roll after procrastinating editing it because I wasn't proud of it, you know? And I'm like, where is it? And there's like half of it left, so I actually deleted it. I don't remember accidentally deleting it, but I guess it happened. So we're back today, and I have my notes on the computer, and the really sad thing is I'm not wearing my glasses, and that font is gigantic, and I cannot see it. But we're just going to jump right into it. There will be a non-spoiler section and a spoiler section. So right now I will give you my non-spoiler opinions, and I will give you a firm warning when the spoilers come if you haven't read the book to leave and go read it, because I loved this book. I love this book a lot. I gave it 5 stars. I forced myself to wait to read it because I wanted to read it right after ACOMAF, but I had to finish my summer reading because ACOMAF and ACOTAR were my summer reading procrastination books. So I finished my summer reading and I finally was able to read it, and let me tell you, it was beautiful. I love all the characters. I love the first 2 books. These are my first and only so far Sarah J. Maas books. I haven't read Throne of Glass yet, which is like, you gotta read Throne of Glass. I don't know. I have Assassin's Blade on my shelf over there. Someone's gotta make it. So yeah, those are my non-spoiler thoughts. There's not much else I can talk about without getting to spoilers. So if you haven't read the book, feel free to click out of this video. If you've read the already 2 books, I have 2 book talks down below for those books. And I will see you later once you read this book, because you gotta come back and discuss it with me. I mean, what other options do you have? I've sucked you in now. Yeah, okay, let's move on. So we open and Feyre is in the spring court. Once again, we've come full circle. But now she is totally on Tamlin's side. No, she's totally on Rhysand's side, which is like, Faysend is like my OTP at the moment. I love my children, my little children. She is being extremely manipulative, and she's in this mindset where she's like, I'm so manipulative, look at me go. And it's really cool, because like, what she wants to do is, because the Spring Court is allied with Hybern at the moment, she wants to make them crumble from the inside. And so she's turning Tamlin against Lucien and making it seem like her and Lucien are having a thing, which never happens, and I'm so glad that never happens because their friendship is like a pretty, like, my children is a good friendship. There's this ceremony, and Ayanth, who is the high priestess person, I don't really like her, she's annoying. I think she dies. Does she die? I can't really remember. So the light has to come up from the heavens and choose Ayanth as the real priestess, but Feyre uses her powers that Tamlin and Lucien don't know she has. No one else knows she has these powers. She makes the light come to her, and it's on her and Lucien, so then Tamlin's like, Lucien, my main man, are you hooking up with my girl? Which never happens. So glad. And so that was the first start of it, and then Lucien and Feyre are going with 2 Hybern royals. I don't remember their names. They're pretty, no one cares about them. We don't like them. 2 Hybern royals and Ayanth to find holes in the wall. So these 2 Hybern royals kill these 3 mortal, just humans that accidentally cross the wall, and Feyre's like, no, go back. It's bad over here. You don't want to worship us. No one knows what the heck is going on, because no one knows what the heck is going on. And turns out the Hybern royals kill these people without Feyre and Lucien knowing. So then they send the Boge after them, and there's this scene where Tamlin's just yelling at Feyre and Lucien like a school teacher, like yelling at little naughty students. And I thought that was the most hilarious thing. And then of course like Lucien leaves and Tamlin blows up, and then Feyre uses it to her advantage because it's like, Tamlin hurt the lady that we all love in our court. How do we comprehend? We can't comprehend that Tamlin hurt Feyre because we love Feyre. So then all the guards and all like the lower people that shouldn't be cool according to Tamlin are cool because they're on Feyre's side right now. So Feyre's still manipulating everyone. Tamlin is being third wheeled so hard, and it's the most hilarious thing. We find out that the Hybern twins are actually manipulating Feyre because she's on this high of, I'm manipulative. No one can defeat me. And here's the fantasy element of this story, because the first book was Beauty and the Beast, the second book was like the Greek myth of Persephone and Hades, I'm pretty sure. And this book, I caught Snow White in this book. She's eating an apple, and in the apple there's this Fabane that like hurts her powers, and we realize Sarah J. Maas is the queen of foreshadowing, by the way, because her powers are slowly being like drained, and she just writes it off as, oh, I am using my powers too much. But she's eating the apple, and then her powers go away, and so suddenly she has to escape. She's escaping, and she sees Ianthe attacking Lucian. And so Feyre saves Lucian, and suddenly everyone knows that she's with Rhysand, because in saving Lucian, she's also trying to escape. So her and Lucian escape. She doesn't kill Ianthe, which I think was a bad decision, personally, but whatever. And they escape, and they go to the Autumn Court. So they're running through the Autumn Court. Lucian's siblings catch up to them, and Eris, who is one of them who will come back throughout the book, he finds them, and they're like chasing each other, and then they lose them, which was a little quick for me, but whatever. Oh, but Feyre used her fire powers, so now they're like, Feyre has some fire powers. Feyre and Lucian are like, oh, they're gonna tell the High Lord of the Autumn Court, and he's gonna be angry that Feyre has these fire powers that should be his, which are his. So much salt in this book from other High Lords, my goodness gracious. So they go to the Winter Court, and they're in this scene where they're like, oh my gosh, we're gonna get captured. And who shows up? Cassian and Asriel. I was so excited. I wanted Rhysand to show up and like kick butt, but he didn't, which is like okay. And so Cassian and Asriel take Feyre and Lucian, because Eris caught up to them, by the way. And they go back to the Night Court, and we see the Facened reunion, and it was so cute and adorable, and I loved it so, so much. Feyre and Rhysand are finally back together, and now Tamlin knows that Feyre has always been on Rhysand's side, ever since, like, basically the bargain. Ever since that mating bond snapped, she's been on his side. So Feyre visits Elaine and Nesta, her sisters that got turned into fairies at the end of the last book. And I never wanted them to be fairies. I mean, I never wanted them in anything, because I thought they were annoying from the first book, because they never helped Feyre out with anything, and I resented them for that fact. However, they get involved in this book, which I was good with, you know? I mean, sometimes you just gotta let it happen. But they're not doing very well. Nesta is being all angsty teenager, TM. And, well, she's not a teenager, but, like, yeah. And Elaine just isn't talking. Well, we know that Elaine and Lucian are mates, and, okay, let's be real, Cassian and Nesta are mates. They are mates? My children. So, Rhysand shows Feyre this library, and as they're in the library, there's a surprise attack on the library from Hybern, showing that Hybern's forces are moving forward. And in order for, I think, was Elaine there? Someone was there. It was like Nesta or Elaine, or like one of the sisters was there. I don't remember. It must have been Nesta. They try and escape through this monster that lives in the library, because reasons. We have some monsters in our library, just so you know. He is called the Briaxus. And Feyre makes a bargain with the Briaxus that if she, I'm pretty sure it's like if she hangs out with him bud to bud, then the Briaxus will help Feyre in the war, and she wants to get the Bone Carver and the Briaxus to help them win the war. This attack actually turns out to be a distraction from the real attack going on. Hybern's forces attack the Summer Court, and Feyre is thrust into her first battle, and it's nothing like she's ever seen before. She's actually with Mor, which is nice. I love their little girl bond. And so they don't go into the big battle, lots of battles where everything is battling. But they go into the castle and they kind of help people. They get to Tarquin and then they have this moment, and yeah, basically, I don't really remember what happens, but that's a thing. They finally decide that they need to have a meeting with the High Lords, and this was like, I was looking forward to this so much in the book, but there was like a gigantic chunk of space in between then and when that would, or in between when they decided it and when it would happen, because a lot of things happened. But we have a meeting with the High Lords, and we meet Vivian, Callius, the guy from the Autumn Court that I forgot his name, Eris is there, Helios is there, who is a pretty cool guy, that guy from the Day Court, which is my court. If you haven't seen my Which Prithian Court Are You, I have that linked below. The Day Court is my court. I don't know who the High Lord is. I don't really care. oops. And so there's a meeting going on. Of course, Tamlin shows up, and everyone, it was obvious Tamlin was gonna show up, because like Tamlin's Tamlin. And I really wanted some Tamlin-Feyre one-on-one conversation here, because we don't get that in the book, and I want them to just go at each other, snipe and be mean and figure things out, because if you know me, you know I love when the hero and the villain have some like lots of one-on-one time, not like one-on-one, but like talking, sniping, trying to see what the other person wants. And Tamlin and Feyre just have this connection that, you know, you can't ignore. But we never got that in this book, and I was mad. There was like one part, but it wasn't even a real thing. Tamlin, like the apple he is like embarrassing Feyre and whatever. I think it's like Helios or someone, or Callias is like, Tamlin, take your lover's spat elsewhere. And it's like, Tamlin, the big kids are talking. You can go leave, because he can go leave. If there's, that kid. And so Baron is his name, Baron of the Autumn Court. So Baron's being an apple hole right now as well. So Baron is taunting Rhysand with stuff that happened under the mountain, and we don't want to think about that stuff. We didn't want to think about it in Akomath. We didn't even want to think about it in Akotar when it was happening. We don't want to think about that stuff. And Feyre just explodes and uses power after power after power on Baron. And I think he shields himself. I think someone shields him, and I can't remember. But that's how they find out Feyre has all the powers, and they're like, kill her. And they're like, well, we can't kill her. Okay, let's not kill her then. If we can't kill her, let's not kill her. And then that was something easily resolved. So I was like, you know, sure. So we're at this meeting, and Tamlin is like, you know, I'd help with the war. Because everyone's like, I have forces. You know, I've got some forces, I can help with. Okay, that's great. Anybody else? I would have forces if Feyre hadn't taken them down. Okay, anybody else? You know, I'd have some ships and magic if Feyre hadn't taken all my forces down. And that's how Tamlin is annoying. And so Feyre may have made a mistake in taking all of Tamlin's forces down, but let's be real. I used to think that it was a mistake, but now I'm like, Tamlin was literally allied with the enemy, and we had to do that, or else Hybern could have just gotten more powerful. So in all of this chaos and confusion, the cauldron and the wall go down, or the cauldron is activated or something, I don't remember. Nesta's like, blah, and everyone's like, blah, and so everyone like disapparates and just leaves for their own. Rhysand and Feyre are like, we have to help all the mortals. So they go to, with Elaine, they go to her ex-fiance's house, who has this like big castle that's like walled against fairies, but it's really not, but like Rhysand and Feyre could help wall it. And we go there, and the fiance guy, whatever his name is like, oh yeah, and I don't like you. And then Jurian walks in, and Jurian's like, hey, y'all, I'm not as insane as you think I am. No, we think you're as insane as you are. Well, then look into my mind. Gosh, fiddlesticks, he's not insane, even though we were told throughout 2 books that he was insane. Why not? So then the battles finally start, because as the cauldron comes down, the battles start. I don't know whatever. Feyre eventually goes to seek out the Suriel, and because she needs some answers. She just needs to, I think she needs to know where the cauldron is, or I don't remember. And she finds the Suriel, but the Suriel is killed, and this is how we kill Ianthe, I remember now. And so Ianthe has this tracker on the Suriel, because Feyre always goes to the Suriel. They're like main amigos. And then they go to the Weaver's cottage, and Ianthe is eaten by the Weaver. Exciting plot points, yay. So Elaine is taken by Hybern because she was like lured, because I guess she's got some sort of attachment to the cauldron as well. So she's taken by Hybern, and Asriel and Feyre go after her. And so we're in this camp disguised as Ianthe, and we find Elaine. There's also this girl, Briar, who's being tortured. Feyre is like, Jurian, because Jurian is there too, because Jurian's always there, because he's being a spy for the good guys, but inside of Hybern. And they're like, Jurian, release this girl, and we'll get Elaine, and we'll fly away. And so they have this girl, Briar, who isn't important the rest of the book, and I'm hoping she'll be important in like the spin-off series that's coming in like 2020 or 2019, so I have to wait a long time. And so the only way to get out of here is to fly, and Asriel is flying with Elaine and Briar, and the only way for Feyre to get out is to fly. And so she's running towards the cliff, and we're like, okay, she has to fly, because She's been learning how to fly. By the way, I forgot to mention that. She's been learning how to fly, not having a lot of luck. And so Tamlin's there, and he's kind of fighting off Hybern's forces to get Feyre out, because that little annoying kiddo, he still kind of loves Feyre. We don't like him, okay? We don't like Tamlin. Don't like Tamlin a lot. I don't. And he gives a gust of spring wind, which we didn't know he could have, to help Feyre fly. And that was the only time I've ever been like City of Lost Souls-esque or City of Heavenly Fire. That boy could have been what he could have been. Or like Red Queen, like this boy who's evil could have been a good guy. Or like, you know, City of Lost Souls or whatever. This boy could have been a good guy. And I'm like, this little boy Tamlin, he could have been a good guy. But then that falls apart. That was like my only time where I was like, maybe Tamlin can have some redemption in my heart. Maybe. But then that falls apart. We get back, and it's so cute because we have Elaine back, and Nesta, Elaine, and Feyre cuddle together, and they just hold each other because there's a war going on, and we don't want to lose anybody. And they didn't really love each other before, but now they all love each other because there's a lot of love going around. And I thought that was the cutest little thing because it's like, it came full circle. The house in the beginning where they're poor and Feyre's providing for her family, to everything that's happened, and now they're here and they're so close to winning. You can feel it. It's climbed. So Hybern's forces turn out to be moving in a different direction at the same time as Amryn, our little sweet little monster girl, love her, love that girl, love that girlie, finds a way to nullify the cauldron, or so we think. And this way to nullify the cauldron is to get anyone created by the cauldron. So I think that's Amryn herself, I can't remember. Amryn, Nesta, Elaine, and Feyre to all touch it at the same time. Later we find out that it just has to be Feyre because Feyre is special because protagonist. So the only way for Feyre to use Briaxis and the Bone Carver, I mean she can already use Briaxis, but the only way for Feyre to use the Bone Carver in the battle is to look upon this mirror Ouroboros. And we had this scene earlier in the book where she goes to the Bone Carver and asks him to help her. And he says he'll only help her if she gets this mirror. And this mirror Ouroboros is in the Court of Nightmares. And the only way to get it is to look upon it, and anyone who has looked upon it in the past has either gone insane or died. And so we just kind of ignore this the whole book. It's like the curse from the first book. We just ignore it until it's like becomes like legit. Feyre like looks upon it, and later we find out that she saw herself as a monster, and she saw every single part of herself, all the broken parts, all the evil parts, all the good parts too, and she just decides to love herself. And I think that's always a good message of loving yourself, even if it's like super underlying. And before you can do anything and take action, you have to have confidence in yourself that you can do it. So Feyre has this confidence. Now the Bone Carver knows that Feyre is the one that can actually defeat Hybern and bring about change. Okay, so right before they go into what we think, we know is the final battle, Jason gives this pep talk, and I loved it so much. It was one of my favorite parts of the book, and I think I just need to read it out loud for y'all. "Do you want the inspiring talk or the bleak one?" he asked. "We want the real one," Amryn said. Rhys pushed his shoulders back, elegantly folding his wings behind him. "I believe everything happens for a reason. Whether it is decided by the mother or the cauldron or some sort of tapestry of fate, I don't know. I don't really care, but I'm grateful for it, whatever it is. Grateful that it brought you all into my life. If it hadn't, I might have become as awful as that prick we're going to face today. If I had not met an Illyrian warrior in training," he said to Cassian, "I would not have known the true depths of strength, of resilience, of honor, and loyalty." Cassian's eyes gleamed bright. Rhys said to Asriel, "If I had not met a Shatter Singer, I would not have known that it is the family you make, not the one you are born into, that matters. I would not have known what it is to truly hope, even when the world tells you to despair." Asriel bowed his head in thanks. Moore was already crying when Rhys spoke to her. "If I had not met my cousin, I would have never learned that light can be found even in the darkest of hells, that kindness can thrive even amongst cruelty." She wiped away her tears as she nodded. I waited for Amryn to offer a retort, but she was only waiting. Rhys bowed his head to her. "If I had not met a tiny monster who hoards jewels more fiercely than a fire drake," a quiet laugh from all of us at that, Rhys smiled softly. "My own power would have consumed me long ago." Rhys squeezed my hand as he looked at me at last. "And if I had not met my mate," his words failed him as silver lined his eyes. he said down the bond. I would have waited 500 more years for you, 1,000 years, and if this was all the time we were allowed to have, the wait was worth it. He wiped away the tears sliding down my face. I believe that everything happened exactly the way it had to, so I could find you. He kissed another tear away. Then he said to my sisters, we have not known each other for long, but I have to believe that you were brought here into our family for a reason too, and maybe today we'll find out why. He surveyed them all again, and held out his hand to Cassian. Cassian took it and held out his other for Mor. Then Mor extended her other to Asriel. Asriel to Amren, Amren to Nesta, Nesta to Elaine, and Elaine to me, until we were all linked, all bound together. Rhys said, we will walk onto that field and only accept death when it comes to haul us away to the other world. We will fight for life, for survival, for our futures. But if it is decided by the tapestry of fate, or the cauldron, or the mother that we do not walk off that field today, his chin lifted. The great joy and honor of my life has been to know you, to call you my family, and I am grateful, more than I can possibly say, that I was given this time with you all. My next quote is when the battle really starts. Then the Weaver and the Bone Carver and Bryaxis unleash themselves upon Hybern, and the battle's underway, and everyone's fighting, and Cassian is this like amazing warrior who's actually a small bean, but he's like just throwing everything he has out there. Rhys is there, Asriel is there. As the battle seems to be going in Hybern's direction, because you know we're the underdogs like always, Autumn and Springcourt join, and Springcourt's like just kind of hanging out there. They're like, yeah, we don't have a lot of people, but we're here anyway because we were traitors for a solid while. So the battle's in our favor, and everyone's doing pretty well. But no one, not even me, the reader who had time to theorize, who was just sitting in her room just reading, not being on the battlefield, no one thought that they would release the cauldron while the battle was going on. We all were like, oh, we'll get to the cauldron before they do that. You know, we got it. It's fine. Then reinforcements from Hybern, and we're like, oh my gosh, the cauldron is unleashed. And then we look to the sea, and there's reinforcements from that one continent across the sea that we don't talk about that much, Draken. And it's Feyre sees this. She's actually like, she starts crying because Lucien found this lost queen, Vassa, who needed to be found. Vassa was a person. I don't really remember what happened with her. She was just kind of quite the person. It was really her father that was leading these, and he was like doing it for Elaine, Nesta, and Feyre, and the ships were named after them. And I was seriously ignoring their father because he didn't really like know what was going on. And he came back, and as he comes back, he dies. And he's killed by the King of Hybern. And I was so mad that that happened because he just makes this grand gesture. He's brought back from like the shadows where we don't talk about him during the book, and he dies. And that is the one part about this book that I'm really mad about. That's the one like writing part, because why bring him back like for a moment of, oh my gosh, I can't wait to see him, like, and then we don't get to see him. So I think that was like not a great writing decision, but at the same time, maybe it was something that was supposed to be heart-wrenching, and it was, but it just didn't do anything for our characters other than give them a little bit more hope and some reinforcements. And so Amren ends up tricking Feyre to touch the cauldron, and she doesn't actually know how to nullify the cauldron. She makes Feyre release her, and Amren is released as a monster, and she just destroys all of Hybern. She just destroys them all. Then she goes back into the cauldron, and we think she's dead. And then the cauldron's splitting, so we have no time to mourn Amren. And we're like, we have to fix this. And Feyre's like, I don't know if I can. And Rhys's like, it's okay, I'll help you. Like, you know, it'll be fine. It's one little thing. And we fix the cauldron, and Rhys's dead. And I know he can't be dead because he can't be dead. He's Rhys. And so then they're all like, he's dead. And Feyre gets all of the High Lords to put their little sprinkle of pixie dust in him and bring him back to life. And Feyre herself does it. And we get to Tamlin, and Tamlin just stares. He's like, and Feyre has to beg Tamlin. And this was when my sentiment of, oh no, the boy that could have been went away. Totally. I have no sympathy for him anymore. Because she had to beg Tamlin to get him to help her mate back to life. And that was like when Tamlin was begging Amaranth, and you know, like I said in one of my book talks, Tamlin's really good at begging. Well, Feyre has to be good at begging to get him to do this, and he says, "Be happy, Feyre," and puts little pixie dust. Oh, Tamlin shouldn't have to have been begged. If you really loved Feyre, you would have done it without having asked, being happy. I'm so glad that he didn't actually die, because I would have been so mad. That's page 666. So they win the war, and before I go on to anything, we find out that Mor is a lesbian or bisexual. She likes both genders, she just prefers women, and that is exciting, nice representation. There's not a lot of representation in these books, which I don't like. There's that one queen that started with an N. I think she and Mor liked each other, and she was there, but I forgot. I don't know. She was like irrelevant, kind of. Probably not. I'm just ignoring her. So they had this big meeting at the end with Miriam, who also was one of the reinforcements. Miriam and like that other guy that I forgot his name. And so they're trying to rebuild the world, maybe rebuild the wall, reorganize everything, and let the humans and the fairies live side by side. And it's not going to be easy, and it's going to take a while. But we know we can do it because we went through all of this to stop the mortals and stop everyone from being killed. And so that's what happens. Thank you guys so much for watching this pretty long book talk, actually. If you haven't read the book, you should definitely read it, and you should not be this far into the video. Shame on you for spoiling yourself, but you know, it's okay. You'll be fine eventually, maybe. If you haven't seen my other two book talks, I will link them down below, as well as a playlist, just all of the videos on ACOTAR. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye, guys.